Welcome back to Pokemon episode summaries. In today's episode, we're doing Clefairy and the Moonstone, episode 6. This episode features Ash and his friends going to Mount Moon as they talk about the legend of the Moonstone crashing there in prehistoric times, in the form of a meteor. Their conversation is interrupted when they see a scientist being attacked by a swarm of Zubat, so Misty encourages Ash to fight back against them. Ash does with his Pikachu, leading the scientists to thank him and Pikachu to shock them in reaction. The scientist says his name is Seymour and it reveals he is upset because someone put in these lights in Mount Moon that are upsetting Paris and Sandshrew due to how strong the natural light is. Seymour then explains his theories on the legendary Moonstone, which he believes the perpetrators who put in the lights are looking for. Seymour essentially explains that the Moonstone is likely millions of years old and came from outer space, carrying a whole bunch of Pokemon with it. This would also explain why the Moonstone is said to enhance a Pokemon's power due to it being from beyond their planet. Ash and the gang then spot a Clefairy running with something in its hand, with Ash wanting to catch the Clefairy. Seymour stops him, likely wanting to do some research on the Clefairy, but then Meowth shows up and traps it. Jesse and James then join Meowth, revealing that they were the ones who put up the lights, and confirming Seymour's theory that the perpetrators were after the Moonstone. Not wanting Team Rocket to get their hands on this Moonstone, obviously, Ash and Brock send out their Butterfree and Brock's new Zubat that he captured against them. The battle begins with Coughing using Smog, but Zubat and Butterfree use Whirlwind to deflect the Smog back at Team Rocket, followed by Zubat using a Supersonic and Butterfree using another Whirlwind in order to send Team Rocket blasting off. With the exception of Meowth, who had already escaped outside the cave. With Ash and Brock having dealt with Team Rocket, Seymour and Misty had still been following the Clefairy, chasing it outside the cave at this point. As we established, Meowth is currently outside the cave, so the two parties meet up, but Misty swiftly takes care of Meowth with Staryu's Swift and water gun attacks. Brock and Ash eventually catch up with Seymour and Misty, and they follow the Clefairy to the top of the mountain, where Brock feeds all of the Pokemon his Pokemon food. Seymour tries it to see if Brock's cooking is any good, and he finds it enjoyable. Ash, on the other hand, does not. Meanwhile, Pikachu and Clefairy are talking, and this conversation eventually leads them to go to another cave, followed by Ash and the gang. They instantly spot the huge core of the Moonstone, with Clefairy placing the item it was carrying from before, revealed to be a little Moonstone, around with a whole bunch of others, which are revealed to be owned by a whole swarm of Clefairy. The Clefairy then dance around the Moonstone like a cult, with Seymour coming to the conclusion that humans are meant to ride it back into outer space with the Pokemon, presumably because Clefairy led them there. Seymour's revelation is interrupted by Team Rocket, though, as those bastards are never truly gone, so Seymour tries to defend the Moonstone from them, but clumsily trips on Meowth, causing him to lose his glasses. Seriously, what's with the trope of scientists being clumsy, man? Ash and Brock defend the Moonstone the old-fashioned way with a Pokemon battle, sending out their Onix and Pikachu against Ekans and Coughing. Ekans uses Dig and Coughing uses Smokescreen, which fucking looks identical to Smog, by the way. So Ash sends out Pidgeotto in response so it can use Whirlwind to blow the smoke away, which it does, But that was just part of Team Rocket's plan, as they were still able to use the smoke to escape without being seen, taking the Moonstone with them, presumably managing to haul it on a piece of wood. Brock sends Onyx underground to go after them, while he and the others go through the caves, but not before one of the Clefairy happily gives Seymour his glasses back. Team Rocket attempts to escape down the hill with the Moonstone, but thankfully, Onyx makes it in time, bursting through the ground and destroy the plank of wood that Team Rocket had the Moonstone on, setting it free. Onyx then proceeds to fight Coughing, wanting to take out Team Rocket once and for all, but unfortunately fails. Thankfully, though, Seymour and all the Clefairy, who have taken a liking to him after giving him his glasses, use a metronome, which causes a huge explosion, sending Team Rocket blasting off again. This explosion causes the Moonstone to shatter into chips, and a lot of the chips land on the Clefairy, evolving them into Clefables. Seymour, now essentially an honorary member of the Clefable and Clefairy, decides to stay with them, hoping to visit outer space, just as he hypothesized they were planning to do. Ash, Brock, and Misty, on the other hand, continue their journey, with their next stop being Cerulean City, where the next Pokémon gym is. Ash sees the Cerulean City sign, which has some graffiti on it, which was written by none other than his dickwad rival, Gary Oak. It essentially just calls Ash a loser, as Gary would usually do, but it still angers Ash, firing him up to speed up his way to Cerulean City as fast as possible, not wanting to be behind Gary any longer.